What's one thing on your bucket list that you're determined to accomplish?
I've got loads. I want to get a hole-in-one at golf.
Okay.
Yeah, so non-wheel related, but that's what I want.
Yeah. Oh. Getting greedy there.
There we go. Look. Okay, what training do you have to go through to use digital accounting tools?
Okay, so it depends what software you're using, I guess. So for me, when I first started, I went through my Xero and my QuickBooks training first. Got my Xero certification and my QuickBooks Advisor certification. And then it was just more like getting used to the process of how you use it. It's like they teach you in the certification what's there, what you can use it for, but you never know what you're actually going to use until you're in it, really.
And do you find like when you're studying as well, obviously if it was like when I started mine, you learn the basics. Did you find that difficult to apply to the digital tools that we use, or could you relate to it, do you think? I don't know.
So when I first started to study, it was more of like a business background. They wanted you to talk about the difference between different companies, like you've got your sole traders, your partnerships, rather than debits and credits. Like that was a bit later on. So I wanted to make sure you had like the basics of knowing what a company was, the different like liabilities. You've got limited liability, unlimited liability. So once you had those bases, then you went into learning about your debits and credits. But as far as applying it to digital way, I feel like at first it's a little bit hard to understand, but once you get used to like thinking, right, so I'm debiting this, so this is going to have this impact on this code, you start to understand more, and then it all ties together. Well, you went middle, so Chloe, how have you found the transition from learning traditional accounting to working in a digital firm? So I'd started doing digital work before I started learning the manual way. So it was more applying the manual way to how I do things digitally. But I feel like the way that they explain it at First Intuition, they like try and explain it in a digital way as well, because they understand like nowadays most firms are transitioning to a more digital way of learning. So although the AAT have a very manual way of teaching you, they're trying to adapt it so that you can see it from both perspectives.
I think that's really important, because it'd be interesting for me to step back into that now. You know, I qualified years and years ago. How they adapted their training, the digitalisation of the accounting industry.
Yeah, I feel like it's very important to learn the manual way as well, because it gives you the basis. Like if we ever had a power outage and we couldn't use the laptop, it'd either be idle time or we'd have to do something manually. So it's good to know both ways of doing stuff, so that if you went to a different firm and they were more manual, you know how to do that rather than having to adjust fully. You've just got to adjust that slight bit.
I think that, going back to when I first started studying, before the sort of digital age, if you like, you know, clients would bring in just a box of invoices, and you had to know what to do with that to turn it into a set of accounts, which, you know, that understanding part then helped me later in life when everything did digitalise. So yeah, it's good that they're still, again, teaching how to do things. If the world didn't have a Xero or the online platforms, you could still do your job essentially, so that's good.
Yeah, and we still have like clients here now that prefer a more manual way. Like even though they have a Xero, they have a Dex, they'll still bring us paper bank statements, paper invoices. So it's knowing like how to adapt that to a way that you can use the information.
Yeah. That one. So like Martin and Chloe, what do you think Gravitate are doing different to others in the industry?
I feel like they're doing a lot different. Like they're very flexible, which is very good for like most of our staff have children or have family, and I think it's good that they're flexible on working from home as well as starting times, so that like you can drop your kids off at school and then get to work and still not be late. So I feel like that's something that I value quite highly, because even though I'm quite young, I don't have like a family or a child, it's nice to have that flexibility. Like if I'm feeling a bit like down one morning, I can take it a bit more slow and not have to rush my way into work. So I do value that quite highly.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, coming in and just seeing the amount of tools and software that we use and not being scared of looking for the next thing that's going to help us. I think sometimes you can get stuck in your ways, which then limits lots of things and stops a business from growing. But I feel like, you know, Sam, Mike, Jonathan, they're all change embracing. You know, we're quite collaborative, and you know, I think that's quite good, really, because it makes us think, right, what do we need to do better as well, constantly. So it's just sort of embedded in the culture, I think.
Well, I'm going to go
Just hold it really tight and be dead awkward.
Martin, how can digitising the corporate finance industry help our clients?
Oh, massively. So, you know, one of the key drivers for me, you know, joining Gravitate was just, again, their sort of change embracing attitude, use of technology, use of AI into their processes. You know, I feel like in corporate finance in particular, there's a lot of document preparation time, which can be massively streamlined, which means, you know, the advice that we're giving to clients is important advice rather than spending time preparing documents. You know, I feel like it gives me more time with the clients to talk about what their goals and objectives are, rather than having to worry, oh, this process is going to take me a long time to do. So I think coming here and speaking to everybody really about what sort of software and tools they're using and trying to embed that into the corporate finance work that I'm doing is already making a massive difference. It just means I can be more efficient with my time, and process with the client is more about value add rather than, you know, spending time on process. Okay. Middle one. Okay, have you found clients with security concerns with going digital? How do you address those concerns? That's a good question. Have you had any experiences of that?
I can't think of any like security concerns. It's more just like getting used to doing it digitally. Like there's a couple of clients that don't have laptops and purely just use their mobile phone for stuff like decks, and they just don't understand the process of taking the pictures, where they go in. Because for the ones that we do bookkeeping for, they don't actually see that process of it being uploaded and then filled in and then approved onto Xero. They just take the photo and then it's gone. So I think that's one of the main concerns with like clients, is they just don't understand what it is. So they're a bit reluctant to do it.
I think I've noticed definitely a lot of the apps now, you know, I'm thinking of like Co-Proposal that we use, Xero. There's quite a few steps to get through the first layer of security, you know. Yeah,
two-factor authentication.
Yeah, there's plenty of security there. No one's going to be accessing the system that shouldn't be. So I feel like it's almost added protection that it's become digitalised rather than the other way around.
Yeah, I think two-factor authentication is an amazing thing, but the thing is with some clients that are used to it being in a manual way, that annoys them. Like, why do I have to go through so much of a process just to be able to access this? And I don't think they see it from a security perspective. I think they see it more as like, well, this is taking forever, I don't want to have to go through this lengthy process.
I agree. I think the problem is that we just had an explosion of digitalisation, didn't we? And everyone's just trying to catch up. You know, I'm sort of the age where I've been brought up in it and I can catch up, but people that are maybe slightly older, probably a bit intimidated with all the change. As well. So I think it's just an education piece for the client, and we're pretty good at it, aren't we? Sort of recognising who the client is and what their expectations are going to be, and maybe hand holding a little bit more in those early stages and just giving that reassurance, I think. So
what's your favourite moment that's ever happened at Gravitate?
Oh wow. That's a tough question. I think there's just quite a lot. You know, every day's quite a fun day. You know, something always happens. Someone always says something in the office that sort of makes you laugh or just makes you want to come in. So I don't think it's one unique thing. I think it's just coming in thinking, oh, what's going to happen today? So yeah, for me, it's not one moment, because every day there's always something that happens. So maybe we're quite lucky in that sense. But no, what do you think? You've been here longer than I have.
Yeah, I've been here a year now. It's hard to pinpoint an exact moment. Like, I've had so many lovely moments. Like when I first started, within my first week or two, we went to Zap on Ecclesall Road, and that was lovely. And then obviously I'm such a Christmas lover. So everything we did around Christmas I absolutely loved. So we had the Christmas expansion party, we had the Oodies, and then obviously the Christmas party that we did down in Manchester. Like, I loved it all. So it's hard to pinpoint one exact moment, but I feel like no matter what, whenever we plan an event, we show up or show out. Like,
I'm really excited about the workation thing that we're doing. That's like quite new concept, and everyone I speak to, oh, we're doing this workation thing, oh, what's that? And sort of explain, like, it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
You know?
Third room is we're going to have a big game of hide and seek.
Okay, all right.
So I'm excited for that.
Okay. Right, last one.
We'll read it together.
Okay.
It's for you anyway.
Okay.
Martin, how has your journey been influenced by digitisation?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. So I think, again, going back to the beginning, before the explosion of digitalisation, I think I was lucky that, you know, I worked for a firm previously that sort of embraced, a bit like Gravitate really, embraced the digital age, saw that it was coming, saw that there was going to be change that's needed, and invested heavily. And just learning the software, the platforms was really important to me, and it sort of instilled a second wind of excitement in what I was doing, because that's what convinced me that I quite like the change embracing attitude, always striving for something better. So I feel like learning that through my training, coming through that process, and now being able to apply that to the corporate finance work hopefully as well, it's win-win for everybody, I think. Okay, quick fire. Right, what are your favourite digital accountancy tools you use and why?
I'm quite a big fan of Xero and HubDoc. I like the integration between them, and I just like how they work separately as well.
Okay.
What's one thing on your bucket list that you're determined to accomplish?
I've got loads. I want to get a hole-in-one at golf.
Okay.
Yeah, so non-related, but that's what I want.
Yeah.
What's your favourite tip to give to business owners?
Upload your receipts.
All right.
Honestly, if you don't do that, then I'm going to have problems.
I like it.
What's one accounting myth you'd like to debunk?
We're boring. And we're not.
We're not boring.
We're not boring.
We're far from boring.
Yeah.
Just look at TikTok. You'll be able to tell.
Oh my gosh, is it me or you? No, it's you. Where's the most interesting place you've travelled to?
I haven't travelled much, so I'm going to have to say Ireland. I am Irish, so I go every year, but that's the only place I've ever been.
Wicked. Okay, right, no cheating, Claire.
Nope. I'm even closing my eyes.
It's not my fault this hat isn't big enough to cover my eyes. Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Crap.
I think I'm done.
What?
20 seconds left.
Yeah, I'm done. If I go any further now, I'm taking my hand off, I'll mess
It's
it
going
up.
to be dreadful.
Which one can see it first? Okay, and now, take your blindfold off.
Mine's going to be pretty good. Mine's not too bad. That looks alright. Sort of. Oh, that's pretty good. I like
It's
that.
not even in the calculator.
but it's like, yeah, you've got that bit right. Can't even see my numbers. Well, we got the shape right. That's alright. I think we've done alright there. Yeah. That's alright. Well done. Fist pump. I like it.